All right, guys, going into that lower body mobility, the lower body is going to be the most uncomfortable positions that you can get in, but there's a lot that goes into it. One is that we excessively have tight quads, and mainly because we sit for the majority of our days, right? Doesn't matter if you're in school, if you're at work, blah, blah, blah. Even on the job site, I know a lot of people that do construction, concrete type stuff over the summer, but you really only use those muscles in so many positions. You don't really overextend them. But in wrestling, we're always in these overextended positions, and I have to not only have mobility, but I also have to have balance and coordination being able to stay in these positions. So a lot of the positions we're going to show you today are going to go through both that, the balance, the coordination, but yet the mobility and ability to contract, relax, and be able to function through those lower body positions. So a couple first ones that we're going to show you. One, hamstring mobility in an RDL position. You're going to find the bands over here hooked up to that pull-up bar again. I'm going to use the green one. You might have to start on a lower band, working your way up to a little bit more aggressive, heavier band. So I'm going to put my back foot up in there. It just hooks right underneath my laces. I turn around. Now working on that hamstring mobility with my hip flexor in the back one. Keeping this leg nice and straight, I'm going to work my way down as low as I possibly can. At the same time, I'm letting the band help me pull this leg up as high as I can. I'm going to feel a huge stretch. I got a lot of balance going on, and then I'm going to work my way back up to a standing. When I come back up to standing, I'm going to let this heel try to come to my butt as far as possible. I feel a huge quad stretch going through here, and you'll notice that my knees are tight together. I'm not out to the side here with my leg out behind me. You're compensating, not doing the right quad stretch because it's easier and you don't feel much discomfort out to the side. So then I'm going to be here, it's straight behind me, working my way down, keeping that balance. Notice where my head's at. I'm not putting my head down to my knee. I want you to work your head and neck positions at the same time. Get the mobility, hold it for 5 seconds, drive your way right back up, hold it for a few seconds, get that big quad stretch, making your way back down to the hamstring. Then from there, we can transition into a little bit more aggressive quad and a little bit more aggressive hamstring positions, working on contract, relax. So I'm going to be here, go down to that half kneeling position. I'm then going to extend my front leg out. If I'm not feeling much, there's a couple things. One is doing a posterior pelvic tilt, which means that I need to tuck my hips underneath me as I go, not here with my hips tucked backwards. I drive hips under, trying to drive them through. I start to feel this big quad stretch here. Now the second part, if you still aren't feeling much, try to scoot your knee back. So then I'm going to scoot my knee back, get a little bit more extended. Now tuck my hips under. I feel a huge hip flexor and quad stretch going through there. Now maintaining this position, I'm going to lightly try to kick my toe down to the ground while it's in that band. So I'm going to kick for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Relax, let it come back up. Try to keep those hips in that same position. A lot of times right when I say kick, people kind of drop their chest to try to get that leverage. Try to keep that chest tall, hips in, kick, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Relax, let her come up just a little bit higher. Keep sinking in, getting a little bit more aggressive with it. Then I can variation into my front hamstring with the quad. Once I start finding my balance here, keep my hands off the ground. I'm going to work forward down that front leg as far as possible. I can start reaching for a far object, and then I'm going to come back up, get my big quad and hip flexor. Then I'm going back down, get all my hammy of my front leg, and then I come back up, get back into that quad hip flexor. Working your way through, spending about 30 seconds down there, doing 6 to 8 reps of it, and then you can switch sides, working through. Don't lose your Crocs as you go in. The next one we're going to work on is hamstring mobility, but then adding in the dynamic component of being able to hop and utilize that back leg. So a lot of times once I start to get elevated up, it's easy to kind of hold positions, but then in wrestling, I have to still be functional off that back foot and be mobile and actually learn how to coordinate the mobility plus the back foot agility at the same time. So with this one, I'm going to put my front foot up in the bands here. Boom, I'm going to put it all the way through so that it's on the back side. And from this position, you can make this as hard as you want to. If you bend your leg, it's a lot easier, not very discomforting. The more you straighten that thing, the more discomfort you start to get, and the harder the position starts to get as well. If this band is too easy, go up to the next band, or just raise it up a little bit higher on the bar. Now from here, I want to keep my leg as straight as possible. I can start to do two things. I can start to do my glides here, pulling my toe towards my nose, pulling it back out. Pull it in, push it back out, pump the gas pedal. And then I can start to add in my hops as well, trying to keep my leg as high as possible, but being able to use my back foot. When I say add in hops, A lot of people just kind of hop here in place and they kind of pull down on their front leg and do this. I'm trying to relax my front leg and let it go up as high as possible while I'm hopping on my back foot. Now, I'm gonna start to add in a lot of variety with my back foot. So I have to learn these positions, forward, backward, side to side, big hops, working on keeping this leg as high as possible to get that mobility and learn how to coordinate that back foot as well at the same time. So those are the two banded exercises we're gonna work there. I can then go down into a little bit more aggressive positions with a bench and an extended band. So I'm just gonna grab my band real quick. This is hooked back over to a squat rack again. We use the Hertz bands. You can use any of your purple bands, green bands, working your way through. I'm gonna get in this nice upright position, put that front leg up on the bench, and now from here, I wanna get extended, but then learn how to pull in and work through these positions here as I'm going through. You're gonna feel a huge stretch. If your toes pointed, it's not gonna be as aggressive. Pull your toe towards your nose, get extended, learn how to contract, and relax, try to sink in just a little bit more. Working through 6 to 8 reps each side with that one. It's a great exercise to learn how to start getting contractions and pulling at that extended position. Then we're gonna go into the last but not least, ankle mobility series here. So ankle mobility is really important. A lot of people overlook it because hamstrings and quads get so much attention, but yet the ankle and the lower calf are critical for being able to get in that low shot position and being able to start working on your penetrations and pushing through off that ankle position. So with this one, there's a couple concepts you have to understand. The ankle, the bones, so your tibia starts coming down like this, it's gonna go to the talus. The talus is one of your foot bones, and that has to do a glide and a slide component as well as a flexion component. So when we do this, we're gonna put a band on to help pull that tibia back. As you start getting a little bit more motion there, it's gonna start to open up that ankle joint. So we've taken a band here, black band. Guys, if you haven't ordered these bands, go down in the description, order the bands. They're gonna save you so much time and energy, and you're gonna use them for everything as we keep moving forward. So I'm hooking it up to the bike here. You can hook it up to a dumbbell rack. I'm gonna put it just above my ankle bones, and then I'm gonna make a little slant board. You can see I just took 2 bumper plates. You can take a piece of wood, whatever you have, just to start bumping your foot up on it. And now from this position, I'm gonna keep my heel on. I'm driving in off my back foot as far as I can. All my weight's on this front leg. I'm gonna start to feel a nice big stretch to my lower ankle. And now from here, I'm gonna lightly prime it up for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I'm gonna sink it back in and keep trying to get a little bit further with it, working my way through that ankle mobility. The next one we're gonna do, I'm gonna make it a little bit more aggressive. I'm gonna step my whole body through, and now I'm gonna put it up on that slant board, ball my foot's up. I'm gonna start to drive my way through. Now from here, keeping my heel on, I wanna take my hips and drive them forward until I feel a massive stretch behind my knee and that upper calf. So we just worked on lower calf, ankle. Now we're gonna work on the upper calf because that one still crosses over the ankle and the knee joint. So it's a huge mobility limiter if I don't have the mobility there. So I'm here, boom, I'm gonna drive in. Once I'm in, I'm gonna lightly prime up on it for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Sink right back into it, get my heel back down. Really get aggressive with drive of the hips. If you're not feeling much of a stretch, step out a little bit farther, use a little bit more aggressive band. So that sums up our lower body mobility work. Commit the time, commit the effort, dominate the little details because those are what's gonna take you to that next level. Have fun. If you have questions, reach out. Otherwise, keep crushing it.